You ever watch a show or read a story and there are no car chases, no epic battles, but you still feel this incredible emotional punch? Well, that's what we're going to dive into. We're pulling back the curtain on one of the most gentle but also really profound genres out there, the slice of life narrative. And yeah, it's a style that swaps spectacle for sincerity, but the cool thing is there's a specific, deliberate craft behind all that warmth. It doesn't just happen.
So, to really get how this all works, we're going to follow this one single poignant story idea. Picture this. A group of homemade robots are just living their quiet life in a scrapyard with the old inventor who made them. And then one day, he's just gone. Now, you might think, oh, this is the setup for a tragedy. But no, it's actually the beginning of something so much more unexpected.
So where does the story even go from there? Well, that first big dramatic moment, it isn't really the plot. It's more like the spark. It's a death that kind of paradoxically becomes a kind of birth. The birth of new identities for this whole cast of innocent, sheltered robots who are now facing the world completely on their own.
And that is the real story. Their creator didn't just leave them a scrapyard. He left them this huge, profound, and let's be honest, kind of terrifying gift of choice. Their journey isn't about getting revenge or solving some big mystery. It's about moving from grief to just figuring out who they are in a world they were never, ever designed for.
This kind of heartfelt storytelling is absolutely not an accident. It's a deliberate craft, you know? It's like an emotional alchemy that's built on three core ingredients that work together to create that signature warmth we all love.
And here they are. These are the keys to the whole kingdom. It's not about just stringing together a bunch of cute scenes. It's a deep commitment to sincerity, a laser focus on small, treasured moments, and a gentle idealization of what it means to just live. All right, let's break these three pillars down one by one and see exactly how they bring our robot story to life.
First up, sincerity. This means the story has absolutely zero cynicism, no wink-wink to the audience, no irony. So when our robots decide to start fixing up their rundown neighborhood, they're doing it simply because they care. That's it. The story trusts that genuine kindness is powerful enough all on its own, which is actually a pretty rare thing these days.
Second, treasured moments. Okay, this is where the genre really finds its soul. It takes the smallest, most ordinary interactions and treats them like they're precious jewels. I mean, think about a robot learning the weird human ritual of a handshake for the first time, or getting a simple sticker from a kid for a job well done. These tiny moments become the emotional anchors for the entire story.
And third, we have the idealization of the normal. Now, this isn't about creating some perfect fairy tale world. It's more about reframing our own reality through a lens of affection. The story makes a conscious choice to focus on the parts of everyday life that hold the potential for softness, for dignity, and for joy. It's a redirection of focus, not just pure escapism.
But all this talk about kindness and small moments, it brings us to one of the biggest questions people have about this genre. If there's no bad guy, no grand external threat, where does the story's momentum come from? How do you even have a story without an antagonist?
And it's a totally fair question, right? I mean, we're basically trained to see conflict as the engine that drives a story forward. But Slice of Life, it just operates on a completely different set of rules.
So here's the core difference. A traditional story is usually driven by external conflict. There's a villain to beat, a mountain to climb. But in Slice of Life, that conflict turns inward. The tension comes from emotional uncertainty, from the quiet challenge of discovering yourself and the world around you.
The whole narrative engine shifts from being about survival to being about just living. Growth doesn't come from winning a fight, it comes from experience. For our robots, making their very first human friend is just as huge, just as significant to victory as a hero slaying a dragon in some other story.
Now, maintaining this gentle tone requires incredible precision. It's not just about being nice. It's about actively managing the story's atmosphere using a really cool technique we can call the emotional dial.
Think of it like this. You're finally tuning the narrative between two poles. On one side, you have melancholy, that quiet ache for what's been lost. And on the other, you have idealism, that belief in the goodness of small things. And this isn't just a vibe, it's a real storytelling discipline. So, here's what the melancholy side of the dial looks like. One of the robots just quietly finds their creator's old, forgotten coffee mug. It's not a huge dramatic scene, but it's this quiet, wistful reminder of his absence. And that little touch of sadness,
It grounds the story. It makes the sweet moments feel so much more precious, because we're reminded that they can be fragile.
And then, you turn the dial. Later that same day, that same robot is given a simple sticker by a kid in the neighborhood. And that small act of kindness, that idealistic beat, it feels so much more earned, so much more real, because it comes after that moment of quiet sadness.
The secret is this constant, gentle movement back and forth. It's like breathing. The story breathes in with a wistful moment, and then it breathes out with a warm one. This oscillation is what keeps the story from ever feeling too sugary or too heavy. It creates this beautiful, emotionally complete experience. So what's the deeper philosophy here? Why does this seemingly simple genre hit us so hard? Well, it's because it's built on this profound appreciation for the little miracles that are hiding in plain sight all around us.
And you know, this might be surprising, but slice of life is an inherently adult genre. I know, it looks simple, but it actually requires emotional maturity from the audience. It trusts you, the viewer, to find the weight in a quiet moment, to see the beauty in a small gesture, and to appreciate kindness without needing it to be part of some giant, flashy spectacle.
In a lot of ways, it's a very Taoist way of telling a story. It's unhurried, it's spontaneous, it values being present in the moment way more than it values rushing to some big conclusion. The story is just allowed to flow, and that flow replaces the friction you'd get from traditional conflict.
This quote really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? This is the central belief of the entire slice of life genre, that maybe, just maybe, the story is a lens that helps us see the constant, quiet chain of little miracles that make up our own lives.
So as we wrap up, this is the question the genre really leaves us with. And it's not just an invitation for storytellers, it's for all of us. It's a challenge to look at our own world through the same lens. What small, treasured moment, what everyday miracle is right there in front of you just waiting to be noticed?